to another episode of the Shifting Your Atmosphere podcast, where choosing you is not selfish, is necessary. I'm your host, Kay Simone, and you already know what we do here. We talk about the good, the bad, the ugly, and the indifferent of all that it takes to choose you in the midst of motherhood and womanhood. As always, this is a safe space, so I want you to calm your mind, calm your spirit, open your heart, and let's get ready to shift your atmosphere together. Can I tell y'all a secret I found out about motherhood? Motherhood and perfection, they don't like each other. They really don't. They don't coexist well at all. It don't matter how you try to flip it. Perfectionism and motherhood, they just don't go together, okay? And it don't matter how hard you try to make them go together. Let me tell you something. You're going to lose, okay? You're going to lose. And you're going to lose one of two things. You're going to lose your mind, or you're going to lose at being perfect. There's really no in between. And I learned that the hard way. Okay? I mean, I made up in my head all of the perfect little mom things that I was going to do, all the way down to always making these elaborate goodie bags for my kids' class every single time there was some kind of event of some sort, y'all. And one day I was literally up. It was 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, and I'm steady trying to fill the bags. And I started literally freaking out about how I wasn't putting the perfect amount of the little shredded paper in each goodie bag so that it would sit up a certain way and they would all be um they would all be the exact same, they all be cohesive. At the time that I was filling the bags, it seemed like if I didn't get each one exactly right, I was going to be the worst mom ever. Everything was going to be the end of the world. And by the time I actually went to the school with the imperfect bags, you know what? My world didn't end. Nothing crashed and burned. And the kids loved the bags just the same. And furthermore, there were some moms who literally stapled a note to a piece of a fruit snack, and the kids were just as happy about that. So, you know what that told me? Being perfect and trying to be a perfect mother in all these ways that I had made up in my head that were the standards of motherhood that I set for myself, there was no reason to stress myself out about that. There was no reason to lose my mind around that. And I had to eventually come to grips with accepting the fact that it was okay if I wasn't perfect as a mother. It was very much okay. So let's go ahead and talk about how you can begin to let go of the idea that you need to be perfect in motherhood before it begins to drain you the way it drained me. So when I first became a mother, like I said, I had Googled, I had searched, I had all of the ideas about how I had perceived motherhood in my own childhood, observing other mothers. And I had basically put together this whole elaborate plan of high standards and expectations for myself that I was going to knock out the park as a mother, right? As a new mother, which in hindsight was really, really idiotic because I had never even been a mother. I didn't even know how to be a mother. I didn't even know what to expect in motherhood. Therefore, I had this whole list of things that I didn't even know the basics, let alone finna be, top tier in it, right? So I don't really know what I was thinking, but nevertheless, I did that to myself, right? And as I did that, every single day that I felt that I didn't meet that standard, and I mean from the very beginning, when I first started, I was a breastfeeding mama. So as soon as I started breastfeeding, I didn't feel like I was pumping out buckets of milk like all the other mothers I saw on the internet or the other mothers in the lactation videos that the specialists were showing me. I felt defeated. I felt like I wasn't doing what I should have been doing. I was doing a disservice to my child. I was letting them down. I was less of a woman, less of a mother. All of these things, which were never true. But I had attached my worth as a mother very, very, very early on to the task I was able to complete, and furthermore to the level or the quality of the task that I was able to complete. So it was like, not that it was okay that I was breastfeeding, and most women may struggle with that. I'm gonna say most, but a lot of women may struggle with that. And it wasn't okay for me that I was just breastfeeding. Like I needed to be over the top with overproduction to the point that I could give away the milk. I could waste milk. Like, and it's like, baby, it's okay if that's not you. It's okay that there's no perfect breastfeeding journey. So why on earth do you think that? And I think thinking back, I don't know if anyone ever even verbalized that and told me that, because a lot of people in my community and around me, they weren't breastfeeding moms. They didn't do a heavy amount of breastfeeding. They knew the formula and the bottle and things like that. And so it's like I only had people who around me weren't really closely experienced in what I was trying to excel at. Then I had all the people on the internet who seemed as if they was over excelling. So I'm trying to find my way in the middle, and I just kept feeling less than. I kept feeling defeated. And now that I'm further in my journey and I've healed and grown a lot as a mother, I realized that I only felt that way because I put unrealistic expectations of perfectionism on me to be a perfect mother. And that was extremely, extremely unnecessary. And what I even didn't realize is that I was tearing myself down, because every time I felt that I didn't achieve what it is that I was trying to achieve at the level of the quality I was trying to achieve, it, I tore myself down the inside. So at that point, now I'm walking around or feeling like, oh, I'll never be able to breastfeed. Oh, I'll never be. And it's like, girl, all you have to do is breastfeed again tomorrow. Is your baby full? Like, I should have paid attention to a lot more the little sizes of the baby's stomach that they were showing you as you were breastfeeding. Because it's like, okay, if you produce that much milk for your baby size at this period of time, like, you and the baby are good. Like, who told you you needed to produce a gallon of milk for an infant that's 1 year old? I mean, 1 month old. Like, who told you that? So it was extremely unrealistic. However, to me, in my mind, in my head and internally, it felt like the whole entire world was crashing. I was feeling my baby. The baby was already premature, and it wasn't like, I mean, y'all, it was so bad that I was like, my baby's not going to live. It's not going to survive. It's not going to grow because I'm not producing a bucket of milk. And I really wish there was someone there at the time to tell me, like, it's okay. It's okay to not be perfect. It's okay to only do what was needed and necessary of you, and not try to compare yourself to what the media was saying. Compare yourself to the highlight reel of another mama, like, showing her breastfeeding. She may be one, in 100 that's producing a gallon on the first day. Like, that may not be you. Like, you had your babies early. Your milk wasn't even fully in when you first started. So the fact that you're even producing is good. Like, I wish I had someone there with me to guide me through those processes and let me know that things were okay, and that I didn't have to be perfect at everything, because at that point I would have had a much more peaceful mental journey through being a mother versus always feeling extreme levels of anxiety that led to depression, for me being depressed about the type of mother that I was, because internally it felt like I was failing myself and them, like I wasn't good enough as a mom. And that is the last thing that I want for any of you, whether you're a mother or you're not, just feeling as if you're not meeting the standard that either you've set, media has set, social social stereotypes have set and said. If you're not meeting that, then all of a sudden you're not okay. You're less than. Your worth is not what it is, or you're not worthy of anything just because you're not meeting those specific standards every second of every day, in every moment, in every area. Like, baby, that's not, anybody would go crazy behind trying to achieve that. So you have to come to the realization that perfectionism doesn't do anything but harm you. Perfectionism doesn't do anything but drain you. Perfectionism doesn't do anything but lead to other mental struggles, other mental issues. It leads to pretty much draining you of the excitement of your joy and your quality of life that you could have in enjoying whatever it is that you're so hard on yourself about, just because you're expecting yourself and trying to be perfect. Like, we are imperfect. God is very clear about the fact that we are imperfect humans. So why on earth would an imperfect human tear themselves down trying to be perfect when your creator already knew that you wouldn't be perfect, and they told you that from the jump? Like I should have, if I could talk to me back then, I would have definitely told myself that. And also, it was a 1 month old infant. That baby didn't even know what perfect should have been. So how on earth am I literally made up in my mind? And that's why I am such a heavy advocate for mental health awareness and mental health prioritizing even while you're pregnant, because if you start these things way earlier, you begin to understand that certain things are okay, that you don't need to be perfect in all these areas. It will minimize how much of a toll it takes on you once you are exhausted, once you are tired, once the baby is here, once you feel like, you have this very, very delicate human being in your arms that relies on you solely, right? And yes, they rely on you, but they rely on you to be exactly what you should be, a mother to them. Not a perfect mother to them, but a mother to them. And if I had realized that so much early on, I think that it would have limited how long I struggled with perfectionism. And I think I'm a perfectionist in general in life. So I probably was going to struggle with this regardless. But to any mother out there or any woman out there that is struggling with being perfect and with perfectionism, I want to let you know right now, God does not require you to be perfect. Life does not require you to be perfect. Anything or anyone that is telling you something must be perfect is unrealistic. And I want you to stop listening to it. I want you to stop internalizing it, because wherever that perfect idea is coming from, I guarantee you it's probably not even perfect. Whether that's a person, a place, a thing, like there's nothing in this world that is perfect. The only thing that was perfect was Jesus, okay? So at this point, throw perfect out the window and worry about just being a mother, okay? Okay. You know how they tell you if it costs you your peace, it costs too much? Baby, if perfectionism costs too much, it costs too much. Like it has a mental cost, it has an emotional cost, it has relational cost, it has spiritual cost. Like it is expensive to try to be perfect. Like it can increase anxiety, it can increase you being irritable, increase the fact that you will burn out so much quicker than another person who is not aspiring to be perfect, because you're on yourself. You're on yourself. You're never giving yourself a break. You're never giving yourself grace. And remember, forever and always, grace is a gift. God give it to us freely. So why are you not receiving it? Even in motherhood, even in womanhood, why are you not receiving grace? Why are you not being gracious to yourself? Like you're doing all these other things, you're maintaining all these other things, and just because it's not perfect does not mean you don't deserve grace. Do you understand it? Like, do I need to run it back to you again? Like, grace is a free gift. Pick it up and receive it, okay? Give yourself grace. Give yourself grace on this journey that you are being present for every single day. Like, you do not have to go out and try to be mom of the year, wife of the year, friend of the year. Like, you don't have to try to be everything to everybody at every second in the level of being perfect and all. No, your mental is not going to be able to sustain that kind of level of overload. And at that point, that's when it costs too much. It's too expensive. So we throwing it out, okay? It also can have relational costs. Like a common phrase they use a lot with a lot of women who are pregnant is that they try to tell a woman to, don't stress, don't worry, don't do this and do that, because your baby inside of you can feel all of your emotions, all the weight, all the stress, all the things that you go through. However, why do they stop at when you're pregnant? Your children can feel all of your things, all of your stress, even once they have been birthed. Your child can understand and feel when you're stressed out. Like mine, they funny about it. They will literally pray to God while we're doing our daily prayers, and they'll be like, help mommy not lose her mind. Help mommy to be calm. Help mommy to be like, yeah, get off my case a little bit. Like, I appreciate the prayers, but y'all ain't got to go in on me to God like that, because I'm working on it. I'm getting together. I'm just telling y'all, don't make me go to that point. But they take it on as, very, very literal. Like, you about to really do these things. And I can think back to other times where I was very, very stressed or very, very down or even depressed. And um, I would just sit there and stare into blank space and not really be very reaction. I really wouldn't be full of any reaction, really any emotions, or be affected by any of the things that was going on around me. And there were a lot of times where my babies would just come up and hug me. Like they would just come up and hug me or come up and just look at me as if they were trying to understand like why I wasn't being who I usually was to them, right? Or why I wasn't doing anything. And it was those moments as I think back or as I was even still, very much depressed and inside my mind and only thinking things and not really reacting or responding in any kind of way, that it was like they could see and they could notice that I was not okay. They could see and they could notice that I was overworked or I was burnt out or that my anxiety was too high because I was freaking out over everything. I mean, I was freaking out a little bit about on them. And I don't think it was necessarily even on them, but it was about every little thing, like if the remote one where it was supposed to be, if mud got on the floor, like any and everything, like I was really freaking out. And it wasn't necessarily about the thing, but it was that I wasn't okay. So every little thing was like the feather that could, you know, I was sick of time bomb all the time. Like you could breathe my direction and I was probably gonna lose it because I just wasn't okay. And the fact that my kids could notice that, and then later as I begin to grow and heal and decide, hey, look, I got to do something about this because I can even notice that they notice it. And they're going to start being affected in a certain kind of way as if, they won't play around as much when I'm around. The same way that we try to grow and teach and discipline them, they can feel and respond to that when it's our negative emotions that literally for me were guided by the fact that I was trying to be so perfect as a mother. And it's like if you didn't do every single thing, you didn't make them a gourmet meal from scratch, like I was on myself tough. And every time I was on myself to a certain extent and it had set in for long enough, I would just be in these drained, burnt out, like zoned out kind of episodes where I just wasn't really reactive. And the fact that they could feel that, they could see that, and they would either try to hug me or love on me to fix it and make me act a certain kind of way, or they would start trying to not do something because I guess they try to, associate the fact that, oh, I'm doing this, it makes mommy sad. Oh, if I do this. And it's like, that wasn't the case. It really wasn't about them. It was me. It was me trying to be perfect. Like, I was cooking 3 meals a day. I was cooking them breakfast, lunch, dinner. I'm probably the only mama that's getting up. Other mamas getting up and giving out Pop-Tarts, giving out cereal. Like, I was getting up making pancakes, eggs, grits, and bacon. Like, I was getting up and making everything every single morning. I was packing them a lunch. Sometimes it was a made lunch. Sometimes it was all these things that I had packaged out for them at a lunch. And I mean, this is why they going to pre-K. Like, it was early. And then even making them a dinner and everything was from scratch. I wasn't even buying chicken nuggets and fries. Like I was cutting up home fries. I was making every single thing from scratch. I was getting up and to the point that if I had to give them pizza or like my kids didn't even eat hot dogs at all, like early on in their childhood because I felt like you're not being no good mama just feeding your kids hot dogs every day. You're not being, and that's nothing, that's not even true. That's not even realistic. Like, if you're feeding your kids and you're giving them a balanced nutrition, one day of feeding them a hot dog is not grounds for saying you're a bad mom. One day of feeding them, pizza or something, or allowing them to have cereal because they like cereal or whatever, is not grounds for certain things. Like they would get so happy to go to other people's house because they would allow them to have kid things, and I was feeding them full things, like, and my sister was like, Keith, they're not gonna die because they ate a hot dog. I'm like, girl, they might, I don't know. Like it just seemed like everything was on me so strong that if I wasn't this Hallmark Christmas movie mama making everything from scratch in my apron, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, like I wasn't being a good mom. But that's the standards I set for myself. That's the level of excellence that I aspire to have as a mother. Like I was like, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna be like this. And baby, that got that got old real quick. It got old real quick. Now, don't get me wrong, I still have levels of that, but I also have grace. I have, okay, you was top tier gourmet chef mama on Monday. Okay, on Tuesday, you might be, cleaning mama. On Wednesday, you know what, you might be sports mama. On Thursday, you know what? You might be homework and bedtime, mama. But whatever, like I started to almost choose in what kind of way I was going to excel for the day. And I wasn't so burnt out and, hyper fixating on being perfect in every area, every single day. And that's when I began to breathe, y'all. That's when I began to breathe. And I started to not lose my mind as much. I could feel like I could come back into starting to prioritize myself, to heal, to grow. And one thing my therapist always would tell me, even to this day, when I get hard on myself as a mother, she's like, children are resilient. They're going to be okay if you're okay. They're going to be okay if you're doing the things that you need to do for them as a mother to provide for them. So I know in my core, I would never do anything that would leave them untaken care of as a mother. So if I'm doing that, they're going to be good. If I'm taking care of them and their safety, I'm doing all the requirements for them as a mother, as in, they have food, they have clothes, they have all those things. Not to say that it needs to be bare minimum, but if I drop under bare minimum, there's where I need to be concerned, right? If I'm anywhere in minimum or above, it's a good day. I was just saying the other day on my social media, we're celebrating little W's, okay? And that's something that I want you to start doing if you're struggling with this. Start to celebrate small W's, okay? Like I said, if on Monday you cook the gourmet meal, baby, you cook the gourmet meal on Monday. Look at you. Look at you, girl. That is a win, okay? On Tuesday, if we had practice, homework's done, kids in bed, the load of towels is in the washer and it's in the dryer, you did great. All them little W's is cool. It don't matter if there's a pile of laundry on the couch. Hey, look, you see some other things you got done today? Focus on that. I had to shift my mindset instead of focusing on everything that I feel like I didn't do well or how I missed the mark, and be happy and celebrate the fact that I was present. I was present with their homework time. I was present for the bedtime story. I was present to give them dinner. I was present to make sure they could have their bath time on time, and so they could go to sleep and get enough rest for their next day. I was present at the baseball practice. I had to start be like, what are you doing that's good, girl? Stop talking about everything that you're not doing. The fact that, okay, well, today we had to eat out. So my kids actually like eating out. They probably get more mad that we cook so often than we go out to eat, even though they enjoy cooking. Who don't enjoy going out and just being waited on and letting everybody bring you everything? You can keep asking for stuff. They like that. And on those days, they were just as happy as the days that I cooked and put all this effort into this food. And you want to know what else? Sometimes I put so much effort into things. Now that I'm thinking back, I put effort into some things so much and tore myself down about them, and my kids didn't even like it. And now it get even madder. Like, I spent all day prepping, planning, putting this elaborate dinner together, and they were like, can I save it for later? I'm like, steam coming out my head, like I'm finna lose it. Cause what you mean save it for later and I've been cooking for 12 hours? What you mean save it for later when I done planned this dinner out a month in advance and I done did all the steps along the way? What you mean save it for later? So you're not eating today? And y'all, that one used to get me. That one used to get me a little deep. Like, even think about it, I still probably get mad again. Cause what do you mean? But again, why was I upset? Why was I mad? Why was that such a stressor for me? Because I put the expectations on that. I was trying to be perfect. I was trying to be a hallmark, Martha Stewart kind of mama. And my kids was like, they would have been happy with a hot dog from the baseball field. But instead, I'm like, no, no, we're not doing that. We're finna go eat this organic stuff. And it's like, girl, that's cool for balance. But if they not gonna eat it, and you put all this time into it, you put all this money into it, cause Whole Foods and stuff like that, Trader Joe's, all those, they not cheap. They not cheap. So you put all this energy and effort in to give them this quality of life, this quality of food, which would be for them, for the betterment of them. Lo and behold, just for them to not be as interested as you want them to be in, because now they're not interested in the way that you want them to be. Now you're mad. And because of that, you feel like you're failing them as a mama. And because of that, now your anxiety how the next time you're ready to give them some food, or now your anxiety how about how you being wasteful. Or now you're getting down and you're depressed and you're like, oh my God, I'm never cooking again. Like, yeah, you see all that spiraling? All because I was trying to be perfect. All because I was trying to be perfect. So what you're not gonna do is that, okay? What you're gonna do is give yourself grace, and you're going to celebrate the small W's. This is what you're going to start doing so that you can let go of the perfectionism. If you give yourself grace and say, hey, you know what? It is what it is, but that I gave it my best effort. And these are the small areas that I got W's in today. And it's all good. We're going to try again tomorrow. That is going to help you start to tear down the idea that you have to be perfect as a mother, which would then start to minimize the mental flare ups that you would have about that. Okay. Y'all back for another fit check, ain't you? Yeah, I know you are. So welcome back to the Style by Case Mo's Fashion Corner. I'm gonna give it to you straight. Today's look, today's fit, elevated basics. Basic, oversized, baggy denim jean with a few rips, but we went ahead and used this chain belt with a little bag on there to hold the pants on and to give some little definition to it. And then a basic bodysuit. And then the star of the show of what I really wanted to wear. This crop blazer, y'all know I love a good blazer, and I'm gonna try to figure out a way to wear them in the summer too. So cropped it is, and pretty much a very skinny top, basic under there because yeah, we're not gonna be sweating. And then just basic little dainty gold jewelry. I had to do a little gold silver mix because y'all know I usually wear silver all the time. But what y'all think of today's fit? It's very much like I said, elevated basics. And then the shoe, I almost forgot about the shoe. I'm always messing up with the shoe. But this is a pointed toe sling back with a little razzle dazzle and a number on the heel. Very much me, very much giving. But what y'all think of today's fit check? Y'all let me know in the comments and let's get back to the episode. Another tool that I attempted while I was trying to let go of being perfect as a mother, my friend actually suggested this one to me. And it was, she would talk about how she would set her a timer. She was like, you know what, I'm gonna set me a timer for an hour. And during this hour, I'm gonna lock in, I'm gonna clean, I'm gonna do this and do that, whatever she had to do for the hour she was gonna work or whatever. And once that timer went off, she was like, you know what? I achieved what it was that I want to do. I wanted to clean for an hour. And it gave her grace to where if she continued on, that was okay. If that's all she had time for, that was okay. If she needed a break to start over again, to not feel like she'd been cleaning for 8 hours nonstop, that was okay. So that's something else you could possibly try to do. Like set yourself a timer or a time frame to do whatever it is you're trying to achieve. And after that, assess where you at. Do I need a break? Is that enough for today? Do I have to move on to a new task? Do um am I good and I can keep going because it's not that 1 hour didn't really drain me that much. But to sit up here, and then there was even, I don't know where I saw this, but even the woman that, I think it was like a video online or something, she was talking about how she cleaned one room a day. So instead of trying to have her whole entire house spotless every single day, and that was like, oh, I'm the ultimate wife or housewife because the whole house is spotless every day. She was like, one day a week, I'm gonna clean this day. I'm gonna clean this a room. And so I started to even work on that. Thursdays became the bathroom. I was cleaning both bathrooms every Thursday. And even as you do these small things, you set timers or you set days, it'll help you feel as if you're still being fully accomplished each and every day. Or I would even at bedtime, after I put the kids to bed, I would set me a timer for 30 minutes to an hour, depending on what else I had going on that evening. And I would just straighten up. I would reset my house from the day, so that when I woke up the next day, I felt like, we was in some kind of order. And when I began to implement some of these practices and tools, it helped me feel what it was that I was going after with the perfectionism. Like I wanted to feel like I was accomplishing things. And when you decide to realize that there's a lot of levels of accomplishment under perfect. Like, here go perfect. That, you see all this stuff under. Here go bare minimum on the table. Here go perfect up here. You see all this in between. Like, anywhere in between that was still okay. And I had done well. You know what I mean? So I had to learn how to give myself grace, to celebrate those small wins, and put in different kind of practice and parameters that allowed me to recognize that I was still doing good and I was still doing okay. Because if the goal is to clean for an hour, once I got to that hour, but you did that. You did that. And also, in celebrating the small wins, you realize that your children will remember your presence. I talk about that so much. Like, even from my life and my childhood, my parents worked a lot. So we had things, we had nice things, we had money. But if I could go back to my childhood, I would just want them there. I would have cared way more and enjoyed way more if my parent could pick me up from an event, or if everybody else's parents is somewhere, like my parent would be there as well. Even if they couldn't be there long, at least if I saw them for a second while everybody else sees their parents. Or if we were home all the time, it wouldn't just be me and my siblings. Like, my parents would be there sometimes, and they absolutely did their best. But in every set of parents are different, because you choose a parent out of what you didn't have. So when they came from um parents who didn't have extreme wealth, that's what they were after. They were after giving us a certain lifestyle. So they definitely achieved that. However, the presence of them would have been so much better for me and my siblings if they were just around more. So as I began to parent, I made presence a top priority, but I lost sight of the fact that I was being present because I was trying to be perfect. You can't be perfect and present at the same time, because honestly, as you could hear in this entire podcast episode, as the more I tried to be perfect, the less present I actually became, because my mental wasn't there. My body wasn't there to enjoy the time. Like, I wasn't playing around and enjoying, driving my kid around my living room in their little remote control car. I wasn't doing it. I was just sitting there because I felt defeated, because I didn't do a perfect level of some area of motherhood today. Like, so that's one thing I would stress to you as well. Remember that being present is what your children are going to remember. You can aspire to give them anything in this world that you want to, and you could meet those accomplishments or anything. But as long as you are present, I know some people who grew up and they have extremely healthy and loving relationships, like best friend relationships with their parents, and they grew up in a very, impoverished or struggling childhood and upbringing with their finances, but their parent was present. So even if, I had to even learn, like, I was spending, we were spending as parents buckets of money on all these toys, and our kid would play with the box. I'm like, you know what? Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Or we would get these expensive toys and we'd be upset when they break them, because we worked hard to make money and we bought the toys. And they're just as happy about that toy as they are the toys $1 from Dollar Tree. And again, why was I stressing about the level of toys? Because I was like, this is the best toy, or this is a toy that's a great, parent toy, or stuff like that. Like, a lot of us have ourselves at standards of trying to be a perfect person, or being compared to people who have had other toys. And even kids in school, my kid, I see other parents giving their kids this, or other kids who are excelling at this level, or you kids go to school and they have this, so they act as if another kid is less than because they don't have that. So you try to get them there, and honestly, they don't even care about that. Like, it be a lot going on. But the point is, they're going to live. They care about your presence. And that's what's going to matter to them more than you trying to be a perfect parent. And I had to learn it the hard way, the hard way, the hard way. And there was a lot of areas that I had to learn it in. And even to this day, like in this last week, I honestly had to keep reminding myself about it's progress over perfection, it's presence over perfection. It's a lot of things in between over perfection, because I've been feeling like, okay, you're not doing this to top tier. You're not working on business, motherhood, parenting, keeping your house good, being a top tier relationship. Like, you're not doing all these things at the top tier level. And it's like, girl, you don't have to. Like, you don't have to. You don't have to. You're present. You're caring. Sometimes some people, all they need is your presence. Like, you don't have to have all these elaborate things being done. So I had to remind myself, hey, look, don't start getting hard on yourself. Don't start giving, these thoughts access to start going and spiraling, start turning to anxiety, start turning to depression. Be cool. Be present. Celebrate the small wins. You washed every single load of clothes in this house. Yes, it's all on the couch, but it don't matter. You washed everything. You did good today. You're taking care of your sick kid. Like yesterday and the day before, my son had been sick. And I felt like, oh my God, I'm not getting my to-do list done. I'm getting off, scheduled on task. And it's like, but Kelly, you're being a present great mom right now. Like your child literally is so uncomfortable and so disgruntled, but you're doing great just by being here and being present for him. So what can you do? So it's another thing that I would advise you to try to see, not only finding tools that are measures to help you have things to accomplish, but start to think and brainstorm in things when you feel like you can't accomplish that perfectionism. What can you accomplish? So, okay, maybe I couldn't do all these things that I could do when my son is at school, but here's a list of things that I can get done while he's home. So, yeah, I cleaned the whole house, did all the laundry, did a lot of things that I could do remote from home, on working on things, emails, rested. He not feeling well, and I've been not resting a lot from busyness. Okay, here's your opportunity to rest. Like, God gives us so many gifts in so many unorthodox ways and tries to get our attention in so many unorthodox ways. And it's like, sometimes we got to just slow down, calm down, and listen, because his grace is sufficient. Like, that's one scripture I drill in my own head. God's grace is sufficient. God's grace is sufficient. God's grace is sufficient, because otherwise, I'm trying to put what I can accomplish in my personal human achievements above God and above his grace. And it's like, girl, you would never, you would never come close to matching his grace. So let it go. And I'm telling me to let it go. I'm telling you to let it go. Let the perfectionism go. Instead, model grace for yourself and your children. Show them that grace is okay too. Show them that, we give them grace as they're learning, we give them grace as they're growing, and all those things. Give yourself the same grace, because they will also learn that it's okay to not be perfect. It's okay to do your best, even if your best is not perfect. What someone else will perceive as perfect, because that's another thing. Where did the measure of perfect come from? Someone had to create it. You created it in your mind, like I did, or media created it, the world created it, society created it, some data created it. But you're your own person, you're your own individual. You have your own family. All of your circumstances are different. Your child is different. Your learning patterns are different. Your mental capacity is different. Everything is different. Your schedule is different. What your family requires from you or of you is different. So when you're trying to be at the standard of perfect, where was that created from? And if that's created from an outside source that does not take into consideration who you are, how you function, what your entire life encompasses, that person really is not even qualified to decide what perfect is for you. So at that point, you might as well do away with that and figure out what works for me, what works for my family, what works for my schedule. How can I do this? How can I accomplish this? And always give yourself grace, because I've learned that in the times that I've given myself the most grace, like I said, God works in so many unorthodox ways that I ended up seeing, hearing, learning a lesson, you know, having a moment with my children that was special. A lot of things good came out of those moments of grace. Even me learning to love on myself, being gracious to myself, helped me love on me as a mother, helped me feel like I was growing as a mother, helped me prepare to even be able to share some of these tools with you guys, because I sat in that grace, because I grew from being so hard on myself, being an extreme perfectionist in every area of my life. Like, I really had to come about being a perfectionist. And I don't even know where that truly comes from. I think it's just a character trait. But I had to learn that it was tearing me down more than was building me up. So I had to let it go. And I want you to let it go. So again, let's recap what we doing, okay? We giving ourselves grace. We're celebrating little W's. We are finding tools and activities, standards of measure that match our life, that help us feel accomplished. Timers for a certain period of time, figuring out what can you accomplish and accomplish that. Not all the way up here, but accomplish what you can accomplish and celebrate the fact that you did that. We're being present over being perfect. We're appreciating that. We're understanding that we're modeling for our children. So the emotions we feel and the emotion that we display, like, everybody like to be subdued as I say, not as I do. I personally, it's not always easy. Then let me throw that out there. But I personally try to be an example and a model for my children. So if it's something I don't want them to do or something I don't want them to say, I try my absolute best to refrain from it as well. And I give them the space to remind me respectfully, of course. Hey, look, mommy, I thought we don't do that. Oh, you did something you said we don't do. We don't do that. We don't say that. And that holds me accountable. Like I'm holding them accountable. So find all of those little things that work for you and your children to model what you want to model to them. You want to model to them that they don't have to be perfect and it's okay to be perfect. If they watch you tear yourself down for trying to be perfect, how is that modeling and teaching that not being perfect is okay? Doing your absolute best is what's important. Being present as best you can. If you only got 10% to show up with that 10% shining bright. You better wear that 10% now because that's what you got today. Okay. When you got 100, you wear that 100% now. But trying to push yourself to be at 100 when you only got 10 is not going to be good for you in the end. And we always remember we're choosing you. I'm helping you remember that you are important. You are a priority because if you not good, your cup not filled, you're not modeling good parameters and good behaviors for yourself. How are you teaching your children to do that? They feel the effect of what we're not doing for ourselves. They feel the effect of us doing one thing outwardly and it's having a destructive effect on the back end to us. They feel those things too, even once they're beyond outside of our womb. So all of those things, even in relationships, when you got personal relationships, you going through all the kind of stuff. Don't you think your romantic and platonic relationships are going to start feeling that? They will. They're like, yeah, she got an attitude all the time. Now she's more snappy than usual. She's more emotional and sad than usual. She's more checked out than usual. She's not listening. All these things. People notice that and it starts to have effects on your relationship. So yeah, we're doing that. We're holding all the levels of accountability for ourselves, but the accountability level is to be present, do the best that you can in the areas for the day. Celebrate the small wins, give yourself grace. And you can even, this is a little bonus one, but you can even start to pivot, right? Pivot, shift. So if like something is starting to go downhill and go sideways, shift it around and rework it to be a positive effect, right? In some kind of way, right? So for example, my mama, she is the queen of if she burns some food, she throwing it in the trash for somebody before somebody see it, right? So if you burn the dinner you worked so hard on, now you feel upset and depleted, throw it in the trash. Go ahead and go buy you some pizza, order pizza, get it delivered, and be like, "Oh my God, kids, you know what? Let's have a great movie night." You know what I mean? Let's build a big fort in the living room. Let's turn movies on. Let's have pizza. Baby, the kids gonna be, "Oh my God, my mama got me." They don't know you burnt the dinner. They don't know you was gonna be pressed and stressed about burning the dinner. Just pivot, figure it out. It don't matter what they look like. That's just something that I had done before. I don't know. I was trying to do too many things at once, messed around, burnt the dinner, came back in there, it was all dried out and burnt black, crispy on the bottom. Maybe I threw the whole skillet out with the food. I didn't even want to deal with cleaning the skillet. I said, you know what? Don't worry about it. Let me go get this pizza. Let me make up that make them happy. And you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna also sit right here, watch this movie a little bit, eat a little bit of pizza, and fall asleep. And they gonna be so happy. At the end of the day, what was the goal? To make your children happy. At the end of the day, what was the goal? To be present for yourself and for your household. And you did all of that stuff. You didn't tear yourself down. You didn't wear yourself out. You didn't burn yourself out about trying to start over or any of that stuff. Or, start to criticize yourself for doing too many things at once. You didn't do none of that. You say, you know what? Grace. I accept it. What can I do? How can I pivot? Now that I've pivoted, everybody good, everybody happy, nobody died. The house is not crashing and burning. We're all living. We gonna see tomorrow, and everybody fed. So that sounds like a win to me. That's the same thing I was hoping to accomplish at the end of the elaborate cooked dinner. But since that didn't work out, here's the difference. And when I began to model and move in those kind of ways, the veil of darkness lifted up. I began to grow in so much faith because I was like, okay, God, I could really do this. It could really be okay that I wasn't perfect. It was really okay that they had pizza. Like I was talking to God as if, we were brainstorming and collaborating together on learning how to celebrate these little wins, learning how to give myself grace, learning how to do all these things that I'm sharing with you to do. I did them with God. And in that, it grew my faith to let me know things were okay. And beyond just that, in motherhood, I was able to take that over into womanhood. I was able to take that over into business and in my career. I was able to take that over into so many areas because I started to do it where it was the biggest and the largest for me, and it transitioned and bled out into to so many other areas because I chose me. I chose to prioritize myself and my mental health and giving myself grace in the midst of all of the things that I had to do. And that right there will help you get through motherhood. That right there will help you get through womanhood and let you know that it's okay to not be perfect. And if you have been struggling with being perfect, hopefully by the end of this episode, when you get here, you will realize that it is okay for you to let that go, pick up some of these other tools, and be able to live your life. Live your life and enjoy living your life. God did not give us this life so that we could be so hard on ourselves every single day. He gave us a life to enjoy, to live in enjoyment. We have our children to enjoy raising them, to enjoy a life with them. And no matter your circumstances, you can still enjoy your life despite them. You can still have joy despite your circumstances, no matter what they are, no matter how good and how low they are. That's one thing that is highlighted in the Bible, that I have learned to be joyful when I have much and when I have little. So learn how to give yourself grace when you up there with perfect and when you down there doing bare minimum hands passing the hot dogs. Learn to give yourself grace and celebrate little W's when all you did was be present today. They had a present mama today. That's cool. You were present in your relationship today. That's great. If that's what you had to give, if that's what today looks like for you. But just because it doesn't does not mean you're less than. It's because it doesn't today does not mean you're not worthy or you're not a good mother or a good woman or a good anything. That does not mean that. And if you've thought that, I'm here to tell you right now, that's not true. I don't want you ever to think that. I don't want you to say that from this day forward. And if I hear you saying it, I'm coming to find you because we're not doing it. We're choosing ourselves. We're not being selfish in that. We're doing that because we know that it's necessary for us to be the best version of ourselves and to be whole, happy, and not being torn down from the inside out, to be able to be a good mother, to be able to be present. Because you can be present and be a hot mess. So the quality of how you're showing up present, you want to be good. So how is that going to be? Because you're good. Okay, now that's all I got for y'all today now. If you want to be supported while you're working through that, or hear about some other mamas going through certain kind of things like that, or even just connect with me to hear more stories, or allow me to support you during your journey, go ahead and you know what to do. Join the Chosen Shawties, is always linked below. As well as if you want to get started with just, starting to practice these grace methods, starting to practice some of these things where you're choosing you and you're showing up with God and you're working through what it looks like to give yourself grace and let go of perfectionism, you can join the 52-week shift challenge. And that's every week. You're setting up some goals, setting up some parameters, setting up your goals for the entire 52 weeks. And every week you're checking on how it's going, how you're doing. And that was something that was good and big for me because every week in my um all-in-one planner, I could check off if I spent time with God. I could check off if I did good on self-care. I could check off if I had did any type of exercise or physical movement. I could check off what my emotions were. I could list out what my motivation for the day or for the week was. And in that, I was keeping up with myself every single week. I was checking in at the end of the week, seeing where I was, seeing what worked, seeing what didn't, keep going forward, all of that. That's the basis around what the 52-week challenge is. It's a commitment to you, for you to choose you with God, you and God together, choosing you to start to grow you in all these areas. And one thing that I definitely came out of during that 52 weeks, the first time I did it, was perfectionism. He taught me that grace was okay every week. And then there was some weeks that there was fluctuation. I learned the lesson week one, or it went well week one because I was implementing it. Got to week 12, stuff was busy again. I was back hard on myself, had to go back and read, work with the lesson again. Remember, remind myself, but it'll help you continue to hold yourself accountable and to truly grow in the areas that you see fit for yourself, that you desire to grow in, or that you're unhappy with, such as being too hard on yourself, from being perfect, from feeling as if you should be perfect. And you can do that in the 52-week challenge. All you have to do is comment below to get access to it. I'll send it right to you, and you can get started today. For my shoppies that like to shop, you already know I'm going to link anything that's from today's Style Corner in the Amazon storefront, as well as a link to shop any of our products is always listed below as well. If you want to get you a prayer journal, if you want to get you a planner, or you want to get any merch or any type of household products that would encourage you in your journey as you're going along, it's all listed below. And even if you want to have someone work with you one-on-one, or you want to be interested in any of my one-on-one coaching, you can use the link and go on the website and check those options out as well. Now, if you haven't subscribed already, what you waiting for? Go subscribe with me. We already locked in. We already been listening to each other. You already got to the end of this episode, so you might as well go ahead and like, share, and subscribe. And if this information was helpful to you and you think it could be helpful to someone else, go ahead and share it with them so they can become a part of our little community as well. And that's all I got for y'all today, for real, for real. And until the next episode.